Well, okay.
Right.
So we're not going to do it. I dropped my microphone. We're not going to do it. It's not taking anything. Mark Jones is the writer, creator, director of Leprechaun, the Leprechaun movies.
I thought I could get through this whole podcast without.
No, it's an interesting conversation.
No, yes, I did.
You wrote Leprechaun?
I created Leprechaun, directed it, and
I just said that.
discovered Jennifer Aniston.
I just said, oh, that we didn't get to.
You know,
but this is what year?
93.
So
92 we shot.
So 93, before that you had all the slasher movies, right? You had Friday the 13th, Halloween, whatever
Even
that. Chucky, everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So where did you come up with the idea for the movie?
It's interesting. I used to watch the Lucky Charms commercials all the time, and they had so everyone knew leprechauns. Everyone knew they were happy little creatures, and I did some research and found out that leprechauns actually they're kind of evil and not that nice.
They're evil for real. That's the legend.
They used to play tricks on people, and sometimes the tricks would kill them, and they laughed. And yeah, the leprechauns were not the Darby O'Gill and Lucky Charms. They have a history of being somewhat evil. And I said they've done Valentine's Day, Friday the 13th, everything. No one's done St. Patty's Day. So I said, around 1990, I said, I got to write a script. I wanted to direct. I wanted to write a low-budget horror movie. And I said, no one's done Leprechaun. Everybody knows it, but no one's done the franchise of St. Patty's Day.
So you're doing TV at the time, and you shifted.
I was doing a lot of TV. I was writing a lot of TV.
Work with Glenn Larson.
Yeah, I did A-Team and Fall Guy and Hunter.
Stephen Cannell. God
did a
rest
lot
his
of
soul.
all the
Both
hour action shows in the 80s. And then I decided I wanted to direct, so I figured I had to write a script, or they wouldn't let me direct.
From the Lucky Charms commercial, you thought, let me make a comedic?
No, originally it was just a horrific, evil leprechaun that a guy caught, brought to North Dakota. It escaped, and it wanted its gold, and it went and killed people. As I finally got it sold, and then I decided, let's put some character into it, so it became a character with fun, not just a monster. And I think that's why we got so many franchises, or so many sequels. We got 8, because it became, and then WarwickDavis, who plays Leprechaun, brought a character, and he and I worked together and made it funny but horrific.
Oh, you made it funny after you wrote the script?
Yes, the first version of the script was totally horrific.
So on the fly, on the set, you made it comedic.
Yeah, while we were in production or in prepping, I decided let's make him have a personality instead of just a monster.
So then you rewrote it.
Yeah. I did it.
Daily, or rewrote it before you went into production?
Before we went in production, and Warwick, once we hired him.
Okay, was Warwick first? Was he the first hire?
Yeah, he was the one we wanted.
And you guys saw him in Willow.
We saw him in Willow, and we were
By the way, who produced this movie?
What's that?
Who was the company?
Trimark.
Okay.
Trimark Pictures, and who's now owned by Lionsgate, which owes me a little bit of money, but we'll get into that later. So we when the script came out, when we sent it to Warwick, and I said we'd be lucky to get it. We were reading a lot of Little People, and because it was a low-budget movie, so we didn't have a huge amount of money to get stars. And he was actually the biggest little person out there. He ended up reading it in England, loved it, and said, I want to come out and do a movie. And actually, very sad, he had just had a baby with his wife, Samantha, who's a little person, and they're wonderful people. And the baby passed away after about 8 days.
Oh.
It was very sad. And he said,
I got to get out.
Leaving England, jumping into the movie, and she was on the set every day with him, and I hung out with them.
What a way to work!
So it was sort of a catharsis.
All right, so he comes out. You hire him.
Yeah.
Who and then you said you discovered Aniston.
Yeah.
So when
Well, let me ask.
Who had a crush on you, by the way?
You wanted Jennifer. You saw something in her, but they didn't want her initially.
Well, she read for it.
That's going. Yeah, I mean that's after.
She came in to read.
She came in with we were doing scale, so she had done a couple little TV, had done really not much of anything, and she came in, and of one of 200 girls we've seen.
Wow.
I immediately loved her and wanted to, I said I kept putting her, she's the best, she's the best. We kept reading. The studio didn't necessarily want to go right away with her. They wanted to read other people.
Did they go after names?
We did. We after one name. You worked with her, and she turned us down. You just did a movie with her. She did
Christy?
Yeah.
Christy Swanson?
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Christy.
Yeah, we went after her for the
greatest.
name. The agent came back, passed on material.
Wow.
So Christy, you passed on the material, but that's
I should talk to her about that.
Yeah.
I love her.
Yeah, we loved her too, but she didn't love us. So anyway, so we went with a couple of people, and then we just said, let's put the money into the Leprechaun and effects and stuff. So she came in and read it. Finally, to make a long story short, I did have to fight the studio to use her because they wanted to not necessarily go with her, and I made a lot of concessions to say I think there's something special about her. I really did.
They tried to change your hair or something, didn't they?
Yeah, that's it.
That's normal.
They wanted to bleach your hair blonde, and I kind of lied and said, "Well,
because they wanted Christy Swanson."
Yes, exactly. And so wow, now Jennifer's knowing that they wanted that Christy was ahead of her.
So what?
No, I know.
It happens all the time.
Anyway,
that's how careers are made.
Jennifer was
okay.
wonderful.
So now and the guy that you like, the heavyset guy, Ozzy.
Mark Holton.
Ozzy.
Yeah, he's named Ozzy. Ozzy Jones.
Mark
in the
Holton.
picture. Mark Holton. Wonderful. Francis in Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
Pee Wee's was before this.
Yes.
So you just cast him out of Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
No, I actually cast him. I did a Superboy. I was writing and producing Superboy. We used him in an episode, and he was great. And I said,
Did you have to read him?
No, yes, Trimark made me read him. I actually told him when I was on Superboy's show, I'm going to do a movie, and you're Ozzy, because he was perfect for Ozzy. When I said to everybody, I want Mark Holton, they made me read Mark Holton, bring him in a bunch of times and read him with the kid and stuff. And I said, Mark, I promise you I want to use you.
You got to go through the hoops. Sorry, dude.
So, he was my first choice, and he was great. And we're still
How long?
friends.
Okay, so the production, you go into production, and Warwick was in no, thank you. Warwick is in makeup for hours.
About 3 hours.
Every day in the morning.
Hours, yeah.
Which is the worst thing for any actor. I don't give a shit who it is. It's horrible. Yeah. But he's wearing the prosthetics.
Yeah.
And he has trouble walking, right?
Well,
he suffers from dwarfism.
Yeah.
Which is debilitating.
Right, but he was fairly young. He was in his 20s, so
so he's walking around with this makeup. It's such a drag. Now
he was a trooper though. Great.
Yeah. How long was the movie? What was the shoot? How long?
24 days.
And problems?
No, the only problem we had was David Price, but no, David's a good friend. He was a producer on it.
All right, so the movie goes great. Jennifer's great. Warwick is great. Holton is great, and you finish it. You finish shooting.
Yeah.
George, jump. I got a train of thought going. So if you want to jump in, jump in.
I was just wondering how it seems like when you work like on Willow. I don't know if it was Ron Howard or
it was Ron Howard.
How did you get Warwick out of a contract? Wasn't he part of like you got to do something? Was it Lucas or who had him?
He was under contract to Lucas.
Oh, for
really?
Star Wars?
Yes, and Lucas.
Star Wars.
No. Yes, I think it was Star Wars, but did Lucas produce Willow and Ron Howard directed it? I'm not quite sure. But I remember we had to get permission from George Lucas. He has a thank you at the end credits of Leprechaun. So does Dan Quayle, because at the time he was vice president and he got a special thing to get Warwick work permit.
Oh, nice.
So we actually.
All right, so you finished the movie, and in your in editing, you sat there with the editor, and did you, in watching it, did you think, well, you know what, this is not bad?
Well, every writer director thinks the movie's great when they finish the script and they start. But I will tell you, I had a lot of crew members who had done a lot of low-budget movies, direct-to-video movies, and I had a number of them say, I know you're not going to believe us, but there's something kind of cool about this movie. It's very different because it wasn't just a horror movie. It had some fun. and they loved Warwick, and everybody was working, and the crew was telling me, it was my first time directing ever on a set. I was a writer and a producer before that, but first time directing. So they were telling me, this is special. This is actually kind of cool. And I'm going, I thought, I just figured it was the crew guys telling me that.
Yeah, right.
But then when editing, I mean, the studio, being my first picture, they were on top of me and they were beating me up and doing what studios do. But I did feel there was something there. Now, did I think we would end up with 8 sequels or 7
But
sequels?
all right, no, good. Stay on the first. So you finished it, and you it's done, and Trimark signs off on it, and it goes out.
Well, it took a year to go out.
Well, once you're done with everything and blah
Yeah,
blah
but
blah.
I mean, they
yeah,
had-
right.
they
Okay,
wanted-
a year later, so the movie gets released.
Mm-hmm.
How many theaters?
Well, in those days, it opened in 700 and
That's a lot.
something theaters, but they did it in 3 waves. So it was really 2,100 theaters nationwide.
And
that
it
they
was
funded.
successful.
Incredibly, the reason they went out theatrical is what happened is it was going to go direct to video. They said, we'll make a lot of money, great box cover. But they tested it in a movie theater in San Diego.
Were you there?
No, I wasn't there, but we got the
Right.
numbers. It did incredible. The testing, I mean, it sold out. They did TV ads in San Diego, had it in about 6 or 7 theaters, and it sold out. And they said, we don't believe this because this should be a direct-to-video. And then they tested it again, I think, in Sacramento.
Same thing.
And same thing. And they said, and it was Trimark's first big
Oh, wow.
theatrical. And they went out in 3 waves of 720 theaters each, and it ended up making close to $13-14 million on a $900,000 budget.
Opening weekend or the
No. In the run, which was 93, that was big, and it did millions in foreign, and television it did, and still played on TV. So it ended up making so much money for them.
What struck me about getting to know you and understanding Leprechaun, a few years ago they did a 25th anniversary showing at the Chinese Theater, and I remember when the initial release, you didn't get a lot of love from the critics, but somebody 25 years later wrote a review and you said he got it, which was you came out of animation before you got to the big TV.
Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, and there are events in that movie that are cartoon events, like when he gets run over by the
truck
and as the tracks on him, and that's straight out of cartoons. And you go, this guy actually got it. He goes, this was.
He got it, meaning
the critic understood.
Oh, he got the right.
When the movie first came out, it was vilified because it was supposed to be a direct-to-video, and they were comparing it with huge, big theatrical releases, and they didn't quite get it. Later, now it's become a cult classic because people understood we didn't take ourselves serious. It was a cartoon. I wanted to do a Scooby-Doo movie.
So you
live action cartoon. Skateboards. He breaks through a fence, leaves his outline.
Yeah,
It was absolutely a silly, fun movie, not really that scary. And so it took about 20 years for people to realize, oh, now we get what I was trying to do.
So now the movie comes out successful,
Yeah.
and your phone starts ringing.
I got a new agent. I got UTA.
To make movies.
I mean, yes, to direct, but I still want to make my own, and that's when Dino De Laurentiis.
Before you change subject, I want to ask you some. I don't know if people know, but you're in Leprechaun, are you not? Like as a cameo?
Oh yeah, I'm at the in Saugus Cafe. The only.
Do you have any dialogue?
Restaurant.
I forgot.
No. It just goes past me and David Price. Me and David Price. I'm smoking a cigar. He's smoking a cigarette.
You're sitting at the counter, right?
We're at the counter.
Yeah.
We're at the counter. Like anything, yes, you get phone calls.
And you didn't want to direct somebody else's work. You just didn't want to do your own
Right.
thing. So were you full of yourself? A little bit.
Oh yeah, I thought Spielberg was going to show up at my house and offer me a deal. But I did then I did Rumpelstiltskin for Dino De Laurentiis. I wrote a script
Right.
and he made that. And so yeah, I mean my choices looking in retrospect.
Were they horror movies?
Yeah, most of them were low budget or smaller horror movies. I got a lot of offers, but I said, but I want to write my
You
own.
wanna do your
because
own thing.
Yeah, I was a writer and producer, and my partner Michael Prescott and we were
Was that the right decision?
in. Is it ever the right decision? I don't
Well, now
know.
we go back
I'm
to-
happy now, but look at me.
Yeah.
So
Well, here's a luck. And free
Right,
will.
exactly right.
yeah. Did I make the?
And then they did how many? They did the first one and how many more? Seven?
Seven more. They just
Eight
And they're
all
still
together.
going. They're
Number
gonna do
8. We
another
just
one.
had
They're
the
doing
box
another
set.
one?
I would guess they are.
Not officially yet,
All right.
but they did 8. 8 is amazing, and it's people love it. Well, when we went to the premiere,
Yeah.
the 25th anniversary, people
It's a
were-
cult movie.
people were asking
Sold
for
out,
my
yeah.
autographs. I mean, I'm not
That's
used
cool.
to that. Yeah,
No, it's cool.
and I love it, and it was fun, and
And did you ever reconnect with Jennifer Aniston?
I bumped into her at the Hollywood Athletic Club. I don't know, about 4 years later. She had been on Friends. She got a Friends a year after
Right. So she
Leprechaun.
blew up.
She couldn't have been nicer. She came. We hugged each other. We sat down. We had a couple of margaritas, and it was great. But I'm terrible at keeping in touch. She was Jennifer was sweetheart. We were friends. I remember showing her a rough cut at my house in Encino with her mother, and her mother or her, she made tea, and we watched a rough cut. So she, but I'm very bad at keeping in touch with people.
Right.
But
She went in your refrigerator and made tea.
either her or her mother did. I forget which one. But but I was going to say, I read in a book or somewhere that Jennifer had a big crush on ScottBaio.
Yes, I've read that.
And I'm going, and I didn't know you when I did Leprechaun, and so I said, how ironic that you brought up Leprechaun in this podcast. And so Jennifer, I can introduce you to Scott if you'd like.
Nobody gives a shit.
Nobody cares. Anyway, but she, you know what? Did I ever think she would be as huge as she is? I did think there was something special about her,
Right.
and I'm not just saying it.
No, I
there
agree.
was a magic. She knows
I hear
I
you.
knew that, and I did have a little crush on her while we were doing
Yeah,
the movie.
she's cute. Well, that's the story of Leprechaun.
Okay.
See up my nose with the